Welcome to Roots and Wings. This performance will be taking place in the forest where I have laid out videos to watch, stories to listen to, and a few interactive pieces that will help you understand the meaning behind why this place has so much importance to who I am now. I have given you a map which points out each section, but we will stay together as a group for most of it, so no one should get lost. If that does happen, I have included some phone numbers in the back in case of any emergencies. As mentioned on the invite, there is a section of the route that is on a steep slope. It's not in any way dangerous, but just keep in mind when walking along it, and I will also point it out again when we're there. The path is muddy and slippy, and there is the occasional tree root that could be a tripping hazard, so just keep your eyes out and take care when walking. I promise it's not as treacherous as it sounds. Video and photography is encouraged as the area we are exploring has amazing views. I'll be taking some myself to document this performance, so please let me know if you do not wish to be in any of them. I hope this walk allows you to view spaces by the memories we hold and the life we have lived in them, and maybe reflect on places in your own life that you connect with, like I do with Westlinton. Before I lead you up to the starting point, I have a little video to introduce you to Westlinton. This is Westlinton. Situated in the Scottish borders, 16 kilometres from Edinburgh, population 1,920. Home to young families, retired couples and farmers. Surrounded by reservoirs Westwater and Badingskill, Mendick Hill and the River Line. The main street shops include a co-op, a newsagent, a fireside shop, the chemist and a recently closed post office. The village also has an 18-hole golf club, a tennis club, a bowling club, and a primary school with roughly 300 pupils. There isn't a local police department, but there is a fire station with volunteer firefighters. Past volunteers included the local roofer, the postmaster, and the school dinner lady. There are 2 churches, St Mungo's and St Andrew's, and many town halls, including the Graham Institute, the new church hall, the old church hall, and the village centre. The places to eat are the Pyatt, originally the bakehouse, the Old Tull Tea House, and the Gordon Arms, a pub, restaurant and a hotel in one. 2 greens, upper and lower, 2 parks, a large and a small, a football club, Linton Hotspurs, a summer festival, the Whitman, full of shows, games and fun at the start of June. Fun street names include Teapot Lane, the Smithy and Bogsbank Road. Local walks include the Lone and the Catwalk, and a new edition of Romer's Wood, which has been added after the land was gifted to the community, an ever-growing community. We are now going to walk up to the start of the Lone. We will be crossing a few roads, including the main road, so just be aware of cars and stick together. Once we get to our next point, I will give you a QR code to scan, and there is some audio for you to listen to as we walk. I'll be leading the front and there'll be someone at the back. We are walking up a hill, so take your time and enjoy your surroundings. Not much changes in this village. Houses are added and brickwork is improved, but whenever I walk through it has the same feel, the same closeness that I suppose any village would have. Being surrounded by nature allows this place to mould slowly over time and yet never change too dramatically. The trees have grown and the paths have started to wear away, but the route is still the same, still full of dog walkers and sheep. There is still a friendliness about it, even though most of the people I pass I don't recognise. This place makes me feel small. Not in a bad way, but small as if I could stay here for the rest of my life and nothing bad would ever happen. Like I'm cocooned by a big invisible globe keeping me safe from the outside. And yet I love how open it is. You can walk 10 minutes in any direction and be surrounded by practically nothing but nature. Forests full of giant trees carve paths up rolling hills, and you feel as if no one can get to you. You are all alone and yet encased in a feeling of being completely free. Memories of growing up always hit the most when I am here. I can remember my primary school days walking home in the sun or running around the park, getting sweets from the newsagent and jumping in the river at the end of P7. Memories of when I started to hate this place as I got older. How I felt trapped and desperately wanted to move away, yet the idea of leaving my family always filled me with dread. I have received my worst news and my best here. My grandpa passing away, passing countless violin exams, my advanced higher artwork getting destroyed in a school fire, getting all A's in my hires, COVID cancelling all of my future plans, getting accepted into university. I have felt every emotion possible in the space, lived every type of life, been through countless phases, hobbies and arguments. And as I moved on and discovered new places, I've always found comfort in looking back at it. Snow is very common here in Westlinton. During winter, the rest of the country sometimes doesn't get a sniff of snow, but this little village will always manage to catch a few flakes. We've had everything from small flurries that melt within hours to snow so deep you can't even open the door. Snow days at school were very common. The laugh I had when my friends in high school would text me confused because they had no snow at all. I usually responded with just a picture of my driveway. And once the homework was done, we'd don our colourful snow gear and head to the hill you see in front of you to do the most important activity of the season, sledging. Some your classic plastic red sledges, others the cool surfboard shaped ones that you could get crazy speeds in. It doesn't honestly matter. As long as you could go fast down this hill, you were there. You would race, go together on the same sledge, and once we made a chain of 6 kids long, racing down and eventually crashing into each other at the bottom. Ramps were made from snow to add more excitement and a bit of danger. The trudge back up was inconvenient, and more than once someone proposed we make a ski lift to take us. But it didn't matter at the end, as there was always hot diluting juice and biscuits waiting when we got there. Faces flushed red with the cold and laughter, toes frozen and sleeves starting to get soggy. We could have been there forever. One year we got a whole week off school and were out all day, every single day. A win-win for our parents as they didn't have to deal with us during the day, and by the time we got home we were ready for bed. To us, it was the only thing we could do when it snowed. There was no point stopping us. After moving to Edinburgh, snow days weren't the same. It didn't lie like it did in Westlinton, rather turning into brown slush. But from my window I could see those same hills that I raced down every year and yearned to be back. Another tradition I thought nothing of at the time, but realised how important it was to my growing up once it was taken away from me. The making plans in the morning, the rushing to get dressed lest you miss the start of it, the fighting over the bigger board with my brother, and the constant screaming as you picked up more and more speed. I think it gave me my adventurous side, carved that adrenaline junkie personality into my soul. I even sometimes look at hills now and think, that would be great to sledge down. It was fun, it was spontaneous, it was never ending.
Fox in the snow, where do you go to find something you could eat? 'Cause the word out on the street is you are starving. Don't let yourself go hungry now. Don't let yourself go cold. Fox in the snow. Girl in the snow, where do you go to find someone who will do? Tell someone all the truth before it kills you. Listen to your crazy laugh before you hang a right and disappear from sight. What do they know anyway? You read it in a book. What do they know anyway? You read it in a book tonight. Cycle round the town. You're going up, you're going down, you're going nowhere. It's not as if they're paying you. It's not as if it's fun. At least not anymore. When your legs are black and blue, it's time to take a break. When your legs are black and blue, time to take a holiday. happens once a year. It only happens once a lifetime. Make the most of it. Second just to being born, second to dying too. What else would you do? What else would you do? What else would you?
We are now going on to Romer's Wood, which is a piece of land gifted to the community. There has been lots of plans for this area, including tree planting, projects with the local primary school to build bug hotels, and local artists creating work based off the seasons. It represents so much of the talent we have in this village. For this section of the walk, you can lead at your own pace, and there are a number of boards along this top path that you can read and interact with. Keep following this path all the way to the far off bench, where I have some refreshments set up and entertainment for our next section. Whitman, oh Whitman, where do I even start? To the locals, it represents the start of summer, of community, of fun and games. To the outside, it's difficult to explain. Trust me, I've tried. Words about tradition and horses, fancy dress and dogs looking like their owners gets jumbled up as I try to put into words what it all means. And most of the time I merely get strange looks back. But again, trust me, it's much more enjoyable than it first sounds. At the start of June, West Linton holds a week-long festival, and to lead this week of games, a man is selected to be the Whitman. He rides a horse and raises the flag and will go on to represent our village at all the other summer festivals in the borders. Yes, there are more of them. The float parade is probably one of the biggest events, which opens the festival on the Friday evening. Families, local organisations and clubs will each decorate a trailer and be paraded around the village. I've taken part in multiple, themes including a mini Olympics and the Rio Football World Cup. It's also a very horse-heavy event, with the ride-out happening on Saturday morning. Us kids would all gather at the river on the green to watch the horses race through the water. There was always at least one horse who would refuse and freak out the rest. From then on, each day is full of events, favourites being the bike race, the dog show and the fancy dress competition. There are also the shows for kids to spend their money at, riding on the death drop and playing at the bouncy castle. From the outside, it's a fun-filled family week. But for us villagers, it's so much more. It's a time for celebrating, a time for playing, mucking about and having fun. Kids can run wild, play with friends and make memories in the sun. School this week is simply an unavoidable nuisance, where the home time bell sounds like the sweet music of freedom, opening the gates to fun-filled evenings hopped up on sugar. The competitions are fierce and the awards one might even call CV worthy. By the end of the week, you're most likely knackered and happy for it to be over, but come next June you'll be excited to do it all over again. I can't imagine a summer where I didn't have Whitman. It's been an important part of my village experience. Even when I was sick of it in high school and the only fun thing to do was sneak alcohol up into the woods with my friends. It's a memory within a memory, a placeholder in my life that I can revisit when I need a laugh. It's the type of recollection that usually starts with, "What year did I dress up as a penguin?" or "Remember when it started to rain during the dog show?" It's also unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's a solely West Linton event. There may be other festivals like it, but I don't think they would be the same. It has its ups and downs, its tantrums and its laughs. It's one of the many aspects of West Linton that I take with me when I move on. A core memory I add to my youth, an adjective I use to describe my home. My heart belongs to a place on the same land I stand now, yet so far off I almost consider it to be another world. But when I am there, I could be forgiven for thinking that same thought. The space is vast, stretching further than I can possibly imagine, surrounded by giant mountains and swooping down to a beach so perfect, sometimes I blink twice to make sure it is real. The house sits on a hill overlooking the beach. It has purple slates and white walls, large windows and a steep drive. The biggest windows face the beach, framing the small island and catching the evening light. The interior is minimalist and mainly wooden and holds a musty smell that stays on your clothes. I find it comforting. At night you can hear the wind howling through the roof. It helps me sleep. The garden is mainly barren but full of small birds fighting over the feeders. I could watch them for hours. This house is safe. Its walls wrap around me like a cocoon, lulls me into serenity. You don't need anything else. It's all here. On the surrounding land, other houses are dotted around, sorted into crofts. Like years before, this place still holds on to its history. Most are holiday retreats now, and yet when I'm there, I rarely catch sight of anyone. Each croft owner has their own story that everyone else knows about. People come and go, trying to plant roots, build new houses but never quite succeed. They don't have the care, the drive to nurture the build. Like a plant, you need to give it constant attention, give it all your energy or it'll wilt and die. The houses that are here have been for many years. They have established their roots. They've been moulded by the weather, adapted over time, and now stand proud in their croft. The land that isn't built on is home to the livestock. Cows, sheep, one lonely alpaca. Sometimes they make their way onto the beach through the Macker, the stretch of land next to the dunes. In the summer it is full of wildflowers and colourful shelled snails. The dune grass pricks your legs and sways in the wind, never to be broken. From there the dunes cast you down onto the white sands of the beach. Rocks of burnt orange, pink and black cage you in on each side. They form small coves of their own, providing shelter from the wind or a place to change into your swimming gear. The water is shades of tropical green and blue, and on the right day forms foamy waves that crash onto the sand, bringing up tangled seaweed and broken shells. The island is the main feature of this hidden gem, pushed out into the sea like a lion waiting to pounce. The waves crash up against it, and yet it is never changed. You can explore its grassy terrain if you're willing to scramble over rocks slick with seaweed and pools full of life. But the journey must be timed with the moving tide, as before long the waves push in again and you will be cut off from the mainland. If you make it to the edge, beware of the sudden drop of the red cliffs, a cemetery of once connected rocks fallen under the waves' pressure. Look out to the horizon. You will see the passing of ships and the bird island of Handa. You will feel like you're at the end of the earth, a feeling so isolating yet one I can't get enough of. It feels like home, but not just in a comforting way. It actually feels like when I'm in my house, in my village. Forests may be swapped for seas and waves tower over you instead of trees, but the feeling is the exact same. The feeling of freedom, the feeling of being yourself. The feeling of walking out of your door and instantly being welcomed in by nature. The birds are the same, the wind being the only sound you hear is the same. The feeling of being wrapped up in love and security, shielded from the rest of the world, is the same. It's the only other place I associate my family with. The only place where things have changed yet feel the exact same as when I was young. The only other place where the memories I share with it go on for years and years. When I'm away from it, I yearn to be back, and when I'm there, I never want to leave. I leave my heart there when it's time to go. I know it'll be in good hands. The weather will shape it, the land protect it. My home from home, my shelter, my serenity, my Ultramore. Since I was 5 years old, I have been playing the violin. I've always wanted to learn an instrument and have loved the way a violin was played. Once I started getting lessons from a local teacher, I never stopped and continued right up until I moved to uni. I completed many grades, took part in orchestra and ceilidh band in high school. Music was a big part of growing up. My parents were very supportive and would always take part when I set up little concerts in our living room. The village is also a very musical place with lots of children learning a vast number of instruments. It is a very important part of myself, and even when I fell out of love with it, I still had music on my mind. When returning to West Linton this year, I decided to pick my violin back up, feeling inspired by my surroundings and the memories of what once was. So while you enjoy your drinks and homemade cake, I would like to play 2 songs for you that I learned at a young age but could never grow tired of. Next one is My Love is Like a River. Once everyone is ready, we are going to be walking out of Romer's Wood to our next section, the catwalk. Take this time to enjoy your surroundings, reflect on what you've seen so far, and talk with others. As we walk to the next point, I have a game that my family always played when walking, I Spy. I've made up cards with prompts to use, and the theme is nature and the surrounding area. You can also keep playing as we move through the last few points. This is the start of the catwalk. No one is sure why it's called that. Everyone has their different stories. I've never really questioned it. It has always just been the catwalk. As we walk along, I will be stopping to read you stories and prompt you to continue reflecting on your own spaces. As I said at the start, this is where the steep slope is, so just watch your feet and don't stray too near to the edge. The trees are magnificent on this walkway, and the view of the river line below us is one to look out for as well. Remember to be on the lookout for more I Spy items too. And also, between each section, feel free to take as long as you want. I will be walking at the front and will wait for everyone to arrive, so just follow the path and take in the beauty of it. From my window, I see trees on all sides. They spread out across the land and rise up on the hills. Some are small and fragile, newly planted and only starting to take root. Others are strong and firm, roots that go deep and branches accustomed to the elements. Any direction you go in, you can see many kinds, all with different stories, planted for different purposes and favoured by different people. And from my window, I can see 6 which are the most important to me. The maple, a tree of strength, balance and change, all things that I could relate to my whole life. The balance of social and isolation, the strength to keep going and aim for my goals, the change I experience at every turn but now see the benefits that came from it. The rowan, used as a protector to ward off evil spirits, the rowan has kept me safe from the moments of negativity and despair. Its bright red berries mimic my red cheeks and bring colour into my life, distracting me from the sadness I feel. Planted just before I was born in our garden, it has watched out for me and defended against the troubles of my youth and the ups and downs in my future. The silver birch, a tree known for its spindly branches and tissue-like bark. 2 stand strong in our garden, planted by my parents when they first moved in. As I have grown, its symbol of renewal helps me understand the changes in my life. It represents how important change can be to a person and shows how the land around me has changed along with me. In the wind, its branches wave over all the growth I have seen, and when I return, its bark peels off naturally, like pages of my life layered around the trunk of my own soul. The ash, known as the Venus of the wood, yet struggling with a disease that hinders its growth. It represents the beauty I see in this place, and the life it has brought me every time I step outside. It is the door I go through when I need to feel free and alone, when the spaces is too claustrophobic and the open air is all I crave. But it also represents the lows I have experienced, the things I have missed or the people I have lost. It allows me to mourn and to hope, lets me down and lifts me up. The yew, it's a symbol of immortality. It represents the immortal feeling this place has and will always have on me. It knows who I am, who I have been, and who I will be. Its structure, ideal for nesting birds, represents the home this place has become to me, no matter where I am. It cocoons me like this dense forest, safe and protected, towers over me like the hills surrounding us, and stands strong against the wind like the strength I have gained from living here. The Scots pine. In Celtic times, it was used as a break from the wind and a help for travellers to find their way. Its domineering figure acts as a milestone marker in my life, its thick branches helping me over each finish line. And on the path to my uncertain future, I hold hope that it will still be there, guiding the way. There is a heron following me. I see it every time I'm outside. Up a hill, by the river, in the forest. He is there, watching, waiting. He looks like an old man hunched over the newspaper, grumpy and wishing to be left in peace. And yet he is always there when I am outside. I first see him on a walk by the river. I'm excited to see him at first and then think nothing of it the next day, as that's a common spot to see herons. And then I see him again, in another river. This time I'm on my school bus. I keep watching him until he is out of sight. He has the same look, the same posture. I let it go, forget it happens. Now I'm up a hill, and he's there, in the long grass. That's 3 days in a row. Surely that can't be a coincidence. I stop and see if he does anything. Some stupid part of me thinks maybe he'll start talking. Tell me why he's following me, why he is always where I happen to be. But of course he doesn't. In fact, he does nothing, just stands there, waiting for something. This keeps on happening over the next few years. Not as frequently, but just enough for me to notice. In the burn, by the reservoir, next to the park. Just observing, lingering. Maybe it's different ones. Maybe they're taking shifts to watch me, like a guardian bird service. How does he know where I am? How does he know I'll see him? Does he know who I am? That I am wondering what he's doing, that every time I leave the house, I am on the lookout for him. but when I leave the village, he doesn't follow. In the city, I don't continue my routine of birdwatcher. Maybe he's confined to a certain section of the land. Maybe he's forgotten about me. But when I return, he is there. The very first walk I take, he is right back to it. The same hunched posture and grumpy expression, as if nothing has changed. I find it comforting now, a piece of my old life that I know will never be replaced. No matter how loud or close I am, he will always be hunched over, waiting for something I will never find out. The kitchen table. This table is made for eating. This table is made for conversing. This table is made for revising, for arguing, for laying things out on and planning. This table is made for sharing. This table is made for us. This table has seen every season being celebrated at it. Christmas dinner with all the family, every homemade birthday cake, and every summer barbecue feast. It hosted Halloween sweet selections and Dad's Sunday morning pancakes, Halburn suppers and regular fajita feasts. It's been weighed down in buffet food and left bare with only the fruit bowl for company. It's seen every cuisine possible. It is the central hub of family activity. Playtime snacks after school with friends, newspaper coverings to protect it from painting activities, soaked up tears from National 5 math revision, seen first-time job applications being completed. It's where everyone starts and finishes their day. It can host the whole extended family, has space for extra chairs to be squeezed in so everyone can dine together. Or maybe just a quiet morning breakfast for two, a few cups of tea in the Guardian spread out. It can do it all. Its presence has ingrained a norm of coming together during meals, has started a tradition of family gatherings in one place, and held memories of every milestone for years to come. It allows space for us to bond and to see our differences. It has made bleak winter mornings more inviting, slow summer nights turned into a paradise with the table set just right. It is a must in all future spaces, a part of our daily lives we don't realise is so important to who we are, how we have grown up. With a table like ours, life has become so much more enjoyable. As we walk to our conclusion, I would like you to take a prompt from this box and just think about it. All are to do with your own memorable locations. This could be a place you went on holiday, a place where a relative stays, or your childhood home like mine. It can be anywhere, as personal as you wish. You can talk to each other about it or keep it to yourself. Look at your surroundings, the trees, the path. Listen to the river and the wind. How does it compare to your space? Does yours look and sound similar or different? Does it make you happy or sad to reflect on this? We are all different, and therefore all of our experiences will be different. And that is the beauty of a space. It has the ability to hold many different people, feeling so many different things. I hold so much of myself in this place. My face reflects in the river, my voice sways these tall trees. My footsteps have moulded the paths, my breath carries the geese to the reservoir. I look around and can pinpoint an exact memory from just the soil on the floor or the leaves on the bushes. This place has the ability to stick to your skin, linger like a scent, and keep on ticking away at the back of your head. Maybe it's the traditions I held as a child. Maybe the length of time I've spent here. Could be the people I share it with, or perhaps the uniqueness of surroundings full of hills and forests. The isolation, yet the feeling of never being alone. There's always someone there to listen, to help. Either way, the thought of it is always there, on my mind like a tattoo, bringing me peace in moments of stress, fueling my emotions, my character, myself. When I return, it has its arms open, drawing me into a warm embrace of calm and reassuring me that everything will be fine. Even if I don't recognise all the people I pass now, or know about the new buildings. Don't speak to the friends I once spent countless days with in school, or like attending the social events anymore. It still holds the old memories and has space for the new. And it understands that this may be my last time I stay here, that visits will be my only exposure to its surroundings. It sits on my shoulder now, in this time of great uncertainty, and whispers in my ear. I'll always be around, no matter how far you explore. Thank you so much for joining me on this adventure today. I hope you enjoyed the walk and the area of Westlinton. While the subject may have been a personal one for me, I hope that has given you a chance to reflect on your own spaces and understand some of the ways you can connect to the past and reflect on old times. I will now walk anyone who needs to go back to the green where we started, but feel free to explore more of Westlinton because there's so much history and community you can see. If anyone has any questions or wants to talk about the walk with me, I would love to hear from you. Along with your map, I have a souvenir postcard for everyone. It's a lino cut print of Mendick Hill, the one you can see from Romer's Wood, made by my dad. But thank you again for being a part of this moment with me.